Are certain sections of this historical library home to ghosts?
Do staff members linger, even into their afterlife?
Does the dark history of this land lend itself to the reported paranormal activity?
Find out the answers to these questions and more as we uncover the stacks of hauntings and history from the Osterhout Free Library in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Erica.
And this is The Haunted Atlas, a Haunted U.S. podcast.
In the interest of fully exploring history of certain locations, the Haunted Atlas may discuss sensitive or disturbing topics. Listener discretion is advised.
An old library sits in a picturesque Gothic church on a cozy street in northeastern Pennsylvania. The remnants of its previous secular life are evident, but there may be more than meets the eye. Rumor suggests that this library holds the ghosts of its past. The Osterhout Free Library is in the Wilkes-Barre Library District and is part of Luzerne County Library System. The history actually predates the library and begins with the land itself. During the Revolutionary War, the Native Americans in the area, the Iroquois, sided with the British. On July 3rd, 1778, the Wyoming Massacre occurred in this area, and there were 360 American settlers that died, and an unknown number of Iroquois and British loyalists. So, from the get-go, this land has tragedy associated with it.
Right.
Fast forward 100 years, and the land is now being considered for a library.
Which is great. I love libraries.
I know, it just is a strange jump from the role it played in the war to now considered.
Yeah, really intense to kind of like a calm, peaceful place.
Right. Funding for the library came from Isaac Smith Osterhout, who died in 1882 and left a large portion of his will to create the library. In 1887, the creator of the Dewey Decimal System themselves was signed on to act as an advisor.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know how you get that contact, but incredible.
Right, especially because, it's a library. I feel like we hear about these really important buildings. And of course, it makes sense that presidents have stayed there in these mansions or these famous hotels. But to have it happen in such a small place, just a library and a small library at that.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. Wilkes-Barre is not crazy far from Philadelphia, but it's not close.
No.
So it's very interesting to me that this person that is so reputable would end up here, but maybe there was some sort of connection there. Also interesting is the name of this town, which we have gone back and forth on so many times.
Yeah.
Because it's spelled like Wilkes-Barre, but we did a lot of research and locals say Wilkes-Barre.
Right. I should be a local as someone who grew up in Bethlehem, and I still said Wilkes-Barre.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So anybody who thinks we're saying it wrong, we're doing the best we can. The board bought an old Presbyterian church for this library and then converted it. But they wanted to preserve as much of the original Gothic structure as they could. For that reason, this library is absolutely beautiful.
So it started off kind of as a church?
Yeah, they bought the Presbyterian church and then converted it to the library. The church itself had been built in 1849. And because it was a church, there's actually a graveyard on site as well.
Oh boy, okay. So yeah.
A little strange for a library, so they did exhume and relocate all of the bodies.
Oh, well, that's good. I mean, I didn't even think about the fact that they'd have to exhume. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yes, that makes sense.
I think it can just be tricky because obviously with construction and stuff, you don't want to interrupt the bodies. But I believe in some cases you do need approval from the families to exhume and transfer the body.
That's what I was going to ask, is do they have to go to every single person's family? I mean, I feel like they should have to, but I don't know if that's a legal requirement.
Yeah, I think it just depends on, and also how old are the bodies, because, I mean, it was built in 1849.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like you can trace every single body.
Right.
The library opened in January of 1889 and was one of the first libraries in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's so cool.
It also opened one of the first children departments in the country in 1904.
I did not know that children departments were just not included in libraries originally.
Well, I think the idea of the library shifted. I think it was strictly academic for a while, and then it became more of a public area, And that's probably when they introduced the children's books.
Right.
Versus previously it was probably used for research. The original collection for the library as a whole was only around 10,000 volumes.
Okay.
Now you might be thinking, I have no idea what that means in the scheme of things. So let's take a look forward. In 1972, there was a flood that caused the library to lose around 70,000 books. So that's already 7 times what the collection was just in losses.
Oh my gosh.
By 1975, they had rebuilt the collection to 125,000 volumes.
Huh.
That's a lot of books.
That's a lot of books.
The library briefly closed in 1999 to be computerized.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Taking it to modern times.
I know. The library is, of course, open to the public, but it is also said to be haunted by book lovers.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Matt Hannah.
We're Horror Hour with the Hannahs, a married couple who love digging into the guts of horror movies.
Literally and figuratively.
Whether it's new releases or cult classics, on our podcast we break down the scares, themes, and hidden messages with just the right amount of love and humor, with some occasional bickering.
So grab your popcorn and your emotional support blanket and join us Wednesdays
For a spooky good time with Horror Hour with the Hannahs.
Available wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe today, if you dare.
Staff and visitors alike have shared paranormal phenomena that have happened to them in this library. And this goes all the way up to the director of the library. His name is Richard Miller. He has spoken publicly about investigations that have happened there, saying that every investigation seems to show proof of activity.
Yeah.
He told one specific story, and this is when his aunt came to visit. She swears that she heard someone repeatedly calling her name as he was giving her a tour of the library, but no one was there.
Right.
He has also shared a story of a predecessor and an associated haunting. The predecessor said that they were looking everywhere for a book with no luck, which is strange because obviously libraries are very organized.
Yes.
Suddenly, a book fell off the shelf and it was the exact book that they needed.
Oh my gosh.
And they both, Richard and the predecessor, believe that it was the ghosts of the library giving them this book.
Yeah, like helping them out.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the dichotomy between those two things, because I feel like if you're walking around this library and someone's calling your name, that can almost be scary. Now, I'm not saying that it is a negative spirit or that it is a negative haunting, but, you know, if you're just in this new place and someone knows your name, that can be a lot versus them like helping out the predecessor and handing them the book that they need.
Right. That's a good point, actually. It's interesting to me, the name calling, because I wonder if Richard said his aunt's name.
Oh.
Or how would the spirit know?
Yeah. Honestly, that makes sense.
It's very interesting.
But
unless
like,
it was someone that knew them.
I know. I mean, that's possible too. It's just, it's funny because, you know, when we're talking to each other, like I don't say Sarah, and I usually only say that if I'm calling you.
Right.
So if we're walking around doing a tour, I'm not going to just randomly say, like, call you Sarah in a random conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking. It's not like his aunt walked through the library doors and he's like, oh, hi, Aunt so-and-so.
Right.
So how would the spirit know? But I do think you have an interesting point there. Maybe it is just being friendly. And the spirit's like, oh, hey, so-and-so. Nice to have you here. And I'm going to help you find any book that you need.
Yeah.
Both of them could take you off guard, I think, because in both scenarios, I think it really comes with this feeling of being watched. Someone knows your name. Someone's following you around. Someone knows what book you're looking for. They're tracking your movement.
Yeah.
The staff specifically says that the basement has a lot of activity. Staff have heard their names called out and even seen shadow figures down there. They have also seen a doppelganger of someone that is still alive. But the doppelganger looks so much like the man that staff regularly confuse the doppelganger and their coworker.
See, now, if I was the coworker, I would be so freaked out.
I would be freaked out if I was the staff, too.
Well, fair, yeah.
Imagine you think that you're talking to me and I just come down the basement stairs and in fact you weren't talking to me.
Oh my God, I just got chills.
Right? It would be terrifying.
So scary.
The first two hauntings, the name calling, the finding of books, okay, that's fine. Shadow figures, okay, we see that a lot of places. The doppelganger is where it starts to get me personally.
Yeah. Well, and see, the only nice way I can spin this is like somehow these two people that look the same. Because you know how people have actual doppelgangers in the world, right? And so it's like these two people that look the same ended up in the same spot. And so like the spirit is actually their own person and is like just trying to have some interaction. And then the coworker is like just its own, their own person.
See, I can't even give it to you because a known haunting that occurs places is doppelgangers.
That's a fair point.
I like your positivity, but I don't agree with your assessment. In addition to the basement, the stairs and the second floor are also said to have activity. Again, we see shadow figures here going up and down the stairs, and it tends to coincide with books falling off the shelves. There also are reports of staff getting shocks when they visit the religion sections on the second floor.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Shocks.
Yeah, that's something that's very abnormal for a haunting.
Especially to occur in one area particularly?
Yeah. Now, I think this could be something to take a look at. Is it a way that the carpeting is? Like, are you generating static electricity somehow?
Yeah.
Why are you getting shocks here? It just happens to be the religion section maybe, or maybe it's paranormal. But I think there's a lot of debunking that could potentially happen here.
You're right, because, going along the lines of what I was saying of it being, kind of cool that it's in the same area, that could be an environmental thing. That's why it's only happening in that area.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was a longtime staff member that passed away that is said to now haunt the library.
Oh.
For 3 days after his death, there were scraps of paper on the stairs leading to his office, and his office door was ajar. Every day, the staff that was still alive would clean up the paper and shut the door, only to come in and have the same thing happen the next day.
Oh, no. That's so cute.
I know, it's so sweet. It's like, oh, I'm still here.
Yeah.
During investigations of the basement, sounds of laughing has been captured, and they actually played the sound of laughing for the director, Richard.
Yeah.
And he confirmed that it sounded like this man that passed away. So I love the idea that he's so happy there that he's lingering, or maybe he's, is playing a joke on them with this shredded paper every single morning.
Yeah. Well, a library is a good place, in my opinion, to choose to kind of spend your afterlife. If you can pick up the books and read them, you wouldn't get bored.
That's actually a great point. And I think it's such a either neutral or positive place.
Yeah.
Whereas battlefields obviously have negative associations. A library at worst is going to be neutral for you. At best is going to be positive.
Yeah.
And it's not like many bad things are going to happen there probably.
Right.
Investigations have captured additional EVPs. For example, when investigators talked about the library being haunted, they captured a voice saying, "Mm-hmm."
Oh, that's so funny.
I know. Again, it seems like the spirits here don't necessarily want to hide.
Right.
Which is kind of abnormal.
I agree with you, because when we talk about ghosts that aren't afraid to show themselves, I almost feel like there's kind of negative connotations associated with it. A scare factor, or even like a prank, which isn't technically negative, but just like a jokey kind of way. So that is interesting that we're just having these like peaceful interactions with spirits who aren't afraid to show themselves.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if it is because they're longtime staff members.
Yeah.
And so they feel comfortable with the majority of the people that are there.
What if they just like have a party every time one of them passes away and they're like, welcome to this realm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a cute idea. There are additional EVPs that have been captured on the second floor. One voice, to shatter our theory, saying, "Go home."
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, that's not great.
And when they heard this, investigators asked the spirit to move a book and said they would go home if the spirit would put the book on the floor. And they found a book that was pulled out as if someone was trying to put it on the floor.
Yeah.
And prior to this, they did confirm that all of the books were properly on the shelves. So they think that this might have been an attempt from the spirit to pull it out. So they leave the section and return on a different night. And then the book is pulled out again while they're walking between the stacks.
Oh.
When they touched the book, they said that it felt really cold. And I have a few questions here. One, is this associated with them saying pull the book out? Or is it related to the book itself? Like, I wonder what the book itself is.
I'm wondering if the spirit is a former staff member and these people are in what is supposed to be a library. and they're doing this investigation and they're being really loud, I think then it makes almost a logical sort of sense that a former staff member is like, go home, please be quiet.
Yes.
You know, I almost think that it's about the people there rather than the book itself.
Interesting. Okay, so you do think it's in response to the question or the statement of they'll go home.
Okay, probably not because they said go home, but maybe they like halfway pulled it out because they were like, you can stay if you're quiet.
That's funny. They're like, you're on thin ice. Don't test me. That's a really great theory. I was wondering if it's just that they, the library is closed and the spirit knows that. Not necessarily they're being loud or they're doing anything wrong, but just, hey, the library's closed. You need to go home.
Yeah.
Here's your book. Take it. Leave.
Right.
Especially given that it's 2 nights in a row. I think that's interesting.
Yes, and it also depends on what the book is.
Yeah.
Because does the book have a theme of home?
That would be cool.
Is the spirit trying to like convey a message about the book rather than telling them to go home? Or are they saying, I want to go home?
Oh, that's another theory. I didn't even think about that. That could be cool. Yeah, it didn't say what the title was, but that's really interesting. What do you think about the fact that they said that the book felt cold?
See, now that, to me, that kind of proves in my head that it was paranormal.
Right. I just think it's interesting because they didn't say that, for example, when Richard tells the story of his predecessor finding the book, they didn't mention that it was cold.
Okay.
So that makes me wonder if this coldness of the book is somehow negative.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I don't have a ton of theories for it.
No, I'm almost wondering, how you said like they were like exerting all of their effort and that's all they could do?
Yeah.
It could be possible that maybe they were still trying. Like as they're physically putting the book back, the spirit is still touching the book, trying to get it out.
How frustrating. The spirit's like, please go home, trying with all its might to pull the book out.
Yeah.
In the basement, in addition to the EVPs, investigators have had a lot of luck with REM pods down there. And they've used that to confirm that the spirit is someone who works there, which we already had confirmed with the laughing EVP. But another sound reported in the basement is hearing pounding on the first floor, despite no one being up there. In some cases, the investigators have asked about the Wyoming massacre, since there was at least 360 people dead. And when they do, the sounds seem to get closer to them.
Oh.
I think this might be the first time I would get really freaked out.
Yes.
Because this is a negative event versus we've talked a lot about the positivity of the library.
Yeah.
However, that claim is incongruent with the idea that the ghost in the basement used to work there. So I think there must be at least 2 different spirits down there. Or I'm skeptical that the sound is actually getting closer.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, that's, a really specific thing. But I feel like human ears are not good enough. Like even when we hear quote unquote, real sounds, sometimes it's difficult for us to tell where it's coming from.
Right.
So that's possible. I also agree. I think there are multiple spirits down there. I was thinking pounding like drums almost. Like, if it's in relation to like the Iroquois tribe. Oh, not even that. Probably the British too. Armies had like drum. Yeah,
drum
majors.
lines.
Yeah.
Or it could even be troops marching
across
the floor. So I think, there's a variety. But I agree with what you're saying about it being hard to identify exactly where it's coming from, especially in buildings like libraries or churches that are large and can be echoey. Not saying that, the public-facing part of the library is echoey because, of course, they're quiet. But in the basement, I'm sure they haven't taken much measure to soundproof it or anything.
Right.
So I think, you could hear footsteps echoing around.
True. And, it might not even be that the sound is getting closer. It might be getting louder.
That's true.
I don't know what really the relationship would be there, but...
Well, if I'm running with my theory of marching, if it's like you hear the beginning of the marching, it would be less people. And then like if you had a ghostly army above you, then it would become denser as you went. So it could be that. I think it's really interesting. I think it's easy to boil it down to the spirits at a location that you're able to identify by saying, oh, it's the people that used to work here and they're all positive, when with such a broad history, there's bound to be other spirits there as well.
Yeah, agreed.
The library has been featured on a number of paranormal shows, such as Ghost Hunters, and the library does now offer paranormal investigations at certain times of the year, which I think would be really cool.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, to overnight in a library in general would be cool.
I know. So much reading.
We're doing an investigation. We're like, Erica, what are you doing? You're like, what? I'm just reading the book.
I found the modern version of Twilight. I found the Osterhout version of Twilight.
Yes, exactly. If you have been to the Osterhout Free Library, we would love to hear your stories. You can email us at theteam@hauntedus.com and include Haunted Atlas episode 20 in the subject. Or find us on social media at Haunted US and share your stories there. Tune in to our next episode to see where we drop the pin on our adventure across the Haunted US. This episode of Haunted Atlas was presented by Sarah Sweeney and Erica Barrett. It was researched by Sarah Sweeney, supported by research from Haunted US head writer Mitch Gott, with production assistance by David Sweeney and music by Colleen Johnson. Our executive producer is Brandon Rugsey. Haunted Atlas is a production of Haunted US. Visit hauntedus.com for more information.